What is up, everybody? Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live.
I just made it. Damn, that was crazy. All right, good deal.
Slid right in.
I slid in.
Let us know you can see us and hear us, and we'll get started with the show. Really good show, everybody. Show. See that. 5x5. Thank you, Julie Bug. Appreciate it.
I love how the orange lights always give my pale skin such a unhealthy pallor.
Lovely glow.
A lovely glow. So.
Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live, our weekly show, although we missed last week due to some technical difficulties. We'll get into that shortly. But welcome to our weekly show. We do every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk about all things strange and high strangeness, all things low and low strangeness, from ghosts, goblins, ghouls, Dogman, Bigfoot, slugs that climb up trees.
Who is it?
It's incapacitate you.
It's Nut Slap that's on Team Murder Slug.
Murder Slugs.
Yeah. We had a witness that we met at the last year's Tennessee Wildman who reported seeing translucent, giant, murderous slugs in the treetops. And he was convinced that they were subterranean. They came up to hunt. But murder slug.
Murder slug. Appalachian murder slug.
Which, there's your next t-shirt. The Appalachian murder slug.
That's also a hardcore. It sounds like it's a hardcore band, doesn't it? Yeah. Speaking of t-shirts. Speaking of t-shirts and merchandise, we do have a really big announcement here. I don't know if you guys noticed what's atop my little dome here, but it is one of the new Hellbent Holler hats. We actually got those in. And they are live on the shop. I'm going to put the link right there in the chat right now. And you guys can go and grab yourselves some of those hats. We've got black hats. Let's see, is it going in? It's in there. Perfect. So that is the link to our shop. It is hellbentholler.shop. Go in there and make your orders because they are all going to run out very, very quickly. We have woodland camo hats. Actually, I can show you guys all of the goods that we have right now. Oh, dark camo is gone.
Dark camo is gone.
Whoa. Well, that's a turn of events, isn't it?
Thank you for that, Okie. Bringing us right out the gate.
Right out the gate.
So.
All right. There we go. All right, so we do have hats in. Now, these are done by the Stitch Witch herself, Dee Edwards. Got that blaze orange Hellbent Holler logo right there on the top. It looks like the limited edition dark camo is out. We might do a pre-order on that. We'll let you guys know if we're going to do that. But we do have the woodland camo hat, which is pretty cool. We also have the black hat, and we actually got one for those big-headed mutants among us.
So black hats, there's normal size and then there's XL.
Yes.
If you have a giant mutant oversized dome, the XL is right up your alley.
We call that Joe Purdue Big Brain Energy.
Joe Purdue from Wild and Weird, West Virginia tried on. We went to give Joe Purdue from Wild and Weird, West Virginia one of our hats. We gave one to Ron Lanham as partner. It fit fine because Ron's a normal-sized human being.
Normal brain energy.
Joe Purdue's got like a freaking head the size of a 55-gallon drum. And it just perched on top of it. So we ordered some XL hats, basically just to be able to get him one. So we have the remnants up there. So make sure when you're ordering them, if you need a big hat, normal sized hats are small on you, get the XL.
Yes.
If not, make sure you order in the normal people size.
Normal people hats. I do have XL Deer Skull logo hat in the title there. So you will see XL is a big old hat. That's a big old bucket.
It's a big ass hat. That's what we should have called it. Big ass hat. Big ass hat.
Also we've got patches, and those have Velcro on the back. Look at that. Oh gosh, gorgeous. Those have Velcro on the back, so you can put that on all of your gear. It's great for plate carriers. I know that our buddy Micah Stacy is definitely going to put one on his plate carrier for stuff and things. So that is there. We got that up there, so that should be available to the public right now if you guys want to hop on there and get yourself some gear. I removed it from the stage, and we are still so tiny. We're big again. Hello, there we go. So I just want to let you guys know that that is up there if you guys want to get yourself some of our limited edition hat runs. So we do get those hand done by the Stitch Witch herself. So quantities are limited on those. Those are not unlimited. So those are gone until we do another big order with her. So you'll have to wait if you miss out on these.
Cynthia's tuning in. No power. The storms are like wrecking freaking havoc, man.
I was at
again. It's like every 6 weeks there's a major weather event in this part of the South. It ripped through here. We still got power and internet, like knock on wood.
Yeah.
But we got like hit with like 70-mile-an-hour winds, man. I don't even know what all's out. But Cynthia, I hope you guys didn't get a ton of damage. A couple quick things here. Like how my voice just kind of cracked there. I thought this was funny from before we went live. Can't wait to see our hell parents. The hell parents. Mon, Pa, Helbin, Holler. But Wolf Kim had a tornado there in Louisville.
We watch Ryan Hall, y'all, on YouTube when there's inclement weather, and that is probably the most comprehensive YouTube weather channel that you can find. He has storm chasers out there, so it is probably one of the best channels out there for that. And you can get on the ground reporting, but you also have up to date radar and stuff on there. So we've been doing that. Just a little plug for old Ryan Hall. Something interesting we also did the other day. We actually took a little downtime the other day and we watched a movie. We watched Werewolves starring Frank Grillo.
Pretty bad.
It was phenomenal.
It got
absolutely
crapped on a bunch by people. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think what happened is because it's basically a B movie that somehow got into theaters. I like productions that just shoot for the stars, man. They just swing for the rafters, and whether they make it all the way or not, I don't care. Like just like Unbridled Ambition. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I don't care what anybody else says. Well, they needed it. Who cares, man? The funniest part about it all is his name Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo.
You know what I'm talking about. Frank Grillo.
Executive producer Frank Grillo.
Well, he's like 60.
Oh, really?
He's obviously on the gear a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He's like ripped.
He's not on a little gear from time to time.
He's ripped like you wouldn't believe. But then and he makes a comment early on going, "I'm not in the Army anymore." And you're thinking, "Oh, Frank Grillo's like some ex-special forces guy." No, he's a
molecular biologist.
He's a molecular biologist. Frank Grillo is trying to save the world from a werewolf plague. I liked it. I don't care.
It was quite good.
Chris Jackson, member for 17 months, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
Cocaine Dogman shirt has made its appearance in New Hampshire. Well, we've made our way to New Hampshire. We're taking over.
And then Ristold said he's repping the Helbin Holler shirt at the Ocala conference.
Yes, I forgot to mention this. The Ocala conference is this weekend. It is the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference. If you guys are not already planning to go, if you're in the area, please go and check that out. I believe it's at the Ocala Equestrian Center down there. And that is going to be a lot of fun. They have a lot of great guests on the bill for the show. It's going to be a great show. I know a lot of people are going. But one good thing about this event is they are actually highlighting a lot of people that are not the big names when it comes to Bigfoot. It's up and coming researchers, local Florida researchers. So it's really good that they're actually showcasing some other people. It's not the same people over and over. They're bringing some new people onto the bill. So if you guys have a chance, go check that out. That's going to be a really good time. What you got there? Nice hat's looking good. Not today, Saban says, Meemaw and Papaw
Doyle.
I forgot to introduce us.
Yep. So
well, there you go. I'm Meemaw. This is Papaw.
But I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed the heck out of it. So does quality MK, and we'll get to MK in a few minutes here. Frank Grillo does quality schlock. Watch Final Boss or whatever it is. Him and Mel Gibson in Action Groundhog Day.
Oh my God, yes.
I've sold. So
done.
We were with. We should have done actually, you know what? Write this down. Let's do a favorite Bigfoot movies night one night, man. Primal Rage. I'm telling you, if you're only going to see one B-grade Bigfoot movie this year,
make it Primal Rage.
No, not Primal Rage.
You said Bigfoot movie.
Bigfoot movie, yeah. But what's the Bigfoot movie I like?
Big Legend.
Big Legend.
Big Legend.
Big Legend's awesome. So.
Yeah. We had a very in-depth conversation with MK about Bigfoot movies, didn't we?
It is Big Legend is just, it's got it all. Okay. It's got Adrian Barbeau from like Escape from New York. Lance Heinrichsen makes like a little cameo on the end of it and recruits the guy for like an international Bigfoot hunting team. It turns into a buddy movie halfway through. It's just awesome.
Well, we were watching Werewolves, I think, several times during the course of us watching that movie. And it's only got like an hour 30 runtime, but there's no fat. There's no fat on that. It's all meat on the bone on that movie.
As little fat on that movie as there is on Frank Grillo himself.
It's like the Odyssey if it was on testosterone. You know what I'm saying? But there were several moments in there where I was like, I would slap Joe on the arm and yell, this movie has everything. There's even a street urchin in there.
There is a street urchin.
They do squeeze a street urchin in there. So a little bit of everything is in there. But it's definitely worth a watch. It's like a $5.99 rental. Definitely worth it. Totally worth it. Great popcorn movie.
So we were in the Uwaris this past weekend. Not this weekend, past weekend, the weekend before.
We came live to our members, I think on Monday, early in the day. But then we completely lost signal towards the end of that, and we could not get signal again.
Starlink was like having like a massive denial. We spent like 2 hours trying to set up like a Starlink in the middle of North Carolina wilderness, and then we got on just in time to get a message saying that there was a big denial of service attack. So we had to. It was all for naught. It was all for naught. But
all for naught.
We were with our buddy MK Ultra, who's in the chat right now, up looking into some witness reports in the Uwharrie National Forest area. And so a couple things we learned. We learned that there are a metric crap ton of Bigfoot encounters in the Uwharrie area. And it seems like the percentage of people around there that have had some sort of experiences is exceptionally high. We also learned it's really tough investigating Bigfoot encounters in the forest when you're trying to do it with ultralight hikers.
Yes.
Especially when you were carrying like 40 pounds of camera equipment.
You have very heavy boots.
And they have like 3 grains of rice and a backpack that weighs as much as a handkerchief that costs like $1,000 and $500 tarps.
Yeah, my favorite line of the whole entire time was, "Hey, you want to see a $500 tarp?"
And I'm like, "Yes, I want to see a $500 tarp."
And it's made out of whispers.
It's literally like, it's the lightest thing you've ever had in your entire life. But anyway, we just got smoked. We just got our butts handed to us trying to keep up with them. We were already tired, and what insult to injury is I'm dying. I got this damn camera and a tripod, an external recorder, batteries, all this crap, which is fine for us for how we usually do it. And we'll do like 10, 12 miles on foot over the course of a day and a night. But we're dying. We're just dying. It's so dry there. And as much as I complain about the humidity, I felt like I was a dried out murder slug. I felt like I was a murder slug that somebody had just dumped some like murder.
Somebody salted the snail.
And salted the snail. And I'm dying, like I'm so dry and I'm dying. And MK's like smoking a cigarette. Oh yeah, this is a tough hike.
He's in a Hawaiian shirt smoking a cigarette. And we're just like, what?
It was very humbling. Very, very, very humbling. Very humbling. So
while I was gallivanting around looking for that stuff, you got old Curtis, didn't you?
I did not get Curtis.
Whitaker.
Curtis Whitaker.
Curtis don't hurt us.
Curtis.
Oh,
Curtis. What will we do without you? Thank you so much, Curtis.
Curtis won't hurt us,
Curtis won't hurt us, man.
Out of anybody, out of everyone that lets you down in this world.
We can trust Curtis. Curtis doesn't like the rest of them. So, but thank you, Curtis. We greatly appreciate it. But so we went up there, and like I said, it was we got our butts handed to us. The other thing that we learned is
MK Ultra says y'all never complained though.
Oh, I complained like he's being generous. I complained a whole lot.
We complained a lot.
I complained a whole lot. I'm telling you, because we got up, we didn't get any sleep for like 2 days running. And then, so our buddy MK Ultra that's in the chat right now, his initials are MK, and he's an ultralight hiker. And he had a YouTube channel called MK Ultra Light Hiking. And
pretty genius.
It was pretty awesome. We're hoping he gets it back running again. But so we're with him, and so we're like wiped out, exhausted, and he's like, I need to blow off a little bit of steam. I want to show you guys some tree structures. Let's go do this. We thought it was just like over the hill. It's like, what, 3 miles in or something like that. which normally wouldn't be
Which
bad.
sounds okay, but it's
Up and down. And you're trying to keep up with like Speedy Gonzalez there, who again, it's just the ultralight hiking dudes up there are just like next level. So,
yeah.
So the other thing that we learned is that it's very difficult to, it's easy to go in there and hear the encounters, but to do the helmet holler style of investigation, which is very tech heavy, and to try to capture data is extremely difficult. The first night I had some things set up that we wanted to try, and I could not get anything to connect, no connectivity. I couldn't get, and I updated firmware before I went. I made
As
sure
usually
we
want to do too much.
I'm completely obsessively prepared for this. I get up there the first night we try to do this, nothing will connect. Nothing will connect. And when I say connect, because I'm trying to remotely monitor some equipment, and it worked fine at home, it didn't work fine there. And I'm thinking, it's a one-off. It won't be any big deal. We'll try something else the next night. The next night, I'm having MK got to watch Joe have a meltdown, which was really good. You know what I'm saying? So
you did get a nice like parable from Star Trek, though,
which I still don't understand, but still, that's okay. Nothing would connect, and then everything began to malfunction. I would get something working and walk away from it, and then 20 minutes later have to change the batteries out on it. And I'm gonna run out of batteries, guys. I don't have enough batteries for this. And MK's standing there just kind of going like, what the hell's wrong with these people? And he's just thinking, oh, they've just got crappy equipment. They don't know how to work it, whatever.
Total losers.
These guys are just frauds. Anyway, so then we were trying to work off red flashlights. He's got a red flashlight, and the red flashlight starts like malfunctioning. So it's flashing. And then the other red flashlight starts doing the same thing. And then Jesse's white light flashlight starts malfunctioning.
The one that I use constantly.
Yeah. So luckily that was just something that you look at and you go, all right, there, I can visibly see everything's messing up. So the flashlight's messing up. It was annoying.
Certainly an odd but interesting data point.
But it was something that was like anybody could look at and go, okay, this isn't normal that we're now having 3 flashlights kind of like malfunction. And then later on, when it felt like, because and everything felt weird. I'm running around trying to set all this equipment up and do all this stuff. Nothing's working, and I'm getting frustrated. And I'm trying to place a camera in the trees, and I'm so frazzled at that point. I can't even get the damn thing like set up, and I'm like, screw it, I can't do anything. I'm useless here. I can't do anything at this point. But it was just so bizarre.
You know what would have made it work? We had
files get corrupt. The flags would have worked. I didn't have the damn flags with me.
I think that would have been your luck, John.
We were packing, and Jesse goes, do you want the flags? And I went, oh, no, I don't want to overcomplicate things.
I'm fine without my flags. Speaking of flag, Joni Mac Connell Rozek, thank you for that $20 super sticker.
Thank you so much.
Joni Mac Rozek.
Joni Mac. So it was extremely, and then Jerry Faust, remember for 60 months, how about helmet holler heavy hiking? Oh, that's what we were doing.
We're going to put some pizza away and then hop on that trail.
You know, put a couple bricks in our backpack to weigh stuff down.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need.
But it was wild. And we had just read Mike Green's book about the Uwaris and researching Bigfoot. It's a chapter of that. The whole thing kind of covers the history of his association with the BFRO and all this crazy stuff. But he's got a whole section in there that is about him researching the Uwaris. And he has a quick blurb talking about having strange equipment malfunctions and that other people experience them in that area too. But he doesn't really go in depth in it. So I'm just thinking to myself going, oh, this dude thinks he knows about equipment malfunctions. He has not seen anything like we've seen. And then we got there and it was just so, with no visible, we had that time we did the live stream and something screamed at us from the woods and everything went haywire. We had the time at Station 16 and the LBL and everything was messing up. This was just like, it was about that bad. We were having like video files get corrupted, we found afterwards. I recorded on a thermal camera for like hours. And I came up at the end and I stopped it, saved it, powered it off. And there's a file there, but there's no data in there at all. It saved nothing. It started a video file
which is quite a frustrating
I've
turn of
never
events.
seen that before, where
Yeah.
it starts the file, and even if it like powered off, which it didn't, because I stopped it, made sure it saved, and then powered it off. And I was running it on an external battery. I finally got one of those to work. That was the other thing too, is that the batteries were draining so quick. I was taking like battery banks, like big battery banks that I have for like stationary equipment. Like if I'm going to set up like a thermal checking out an area, I'll run external power to it. And it's a big, like 32,000 milliamp hour battery bank. I was like electric taping those to the sides of tripods and like just running them to our cameras and our recorders and all that, because the regular, like, batteries were just dying so quick. But anyway, I've just never seen it started a file. There's just no data there. It's like it shouldn't have been running still. It's bizarre, but just weird stuff like that. And nothing in of itself is that weird, but when you compound it to basically everything that I touched, it's freaking bizarre, man. I mean, it was really frustrating. Poor MK saw me. I was nearly in tears, man. I was just like going.
So on the next attempt, we're going to try a different sort of tactic and maybe simplify a little bit when we do that, and maybe have some backups ready for this stuff so we can sort of try to combat the phenomenon as much as we can. Another issue we had is we had some weather that rolled in out of nowhere, that there was no inclement weather.
Light showers for like a half hour.
That was it. So we go out there. We are out there. We're running our cameras. We got our main cameras going, and we're out there. We get hit with a light shower. We're like, great, that's it. We go deeper. We go deeper. All of a sudden, downpour. And I mean downpour. And we had no tree coverage whatsoever where we were. So we go and we kind of get our bodies over our cameras.
Over the cameras, pulling out freezer bags to like put them in.
Trying to get everything dried off and put it away. And we're like, okay, it'll just pass pretty quickly. Look on the radar. There was nothing on the radar or anything like that. It's just a
bizarre,
downpour.
Absolutely bizarre.
So right now, as it stands, it's URE's 1, Helmet Holler.
Well, actually, it's URE's technically 3 because there were 3 nights of crappiness. URE 3, Helmet Holler 0. And I got in our Discord and I went, y'all don't even know if you saw that like weird Captain Ahab rant that I went on to. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, I like literally just went. And if MK's still in the chat, I'm sure he can chime in and just go, yeah, Joe looked like a crazy person.
From the heart of hell.
No, literally, I was just going, that's fine, and I literally said something to the effect of like, last time I experienced something like this where it felt intentional was the Grove. And I beat the Grove. I figured out a way to get a recorder out there. I'll beat this, But I mean, literally, I read it afterwards and I went, damn, I sound like a deranged Bigfoot hunting Captain Ahab, And what's even funnier is there are several white Bigfoot reports from up there.
I did not even make that connection. All right.
So, and a quick little side note.
I'm just out there looking for the giant pieces of
quartz. You always hear about white Bigfoot and you're going, well, how could that stay hidden? There's giant pieces of exposed white quartz everywhere.
And we didn't realize that there were such large pieces just out there up on top of these mountains. And some of them were just at the apex of these. They're glorified hills is what people call them. Although they kicked our butts pretty bad. But they're kind of at these apexes. It's this clustering of white quartz, beautiful, just milky white, pure quartz up there. But you don't really see them during the summertime. And we've only been up there in the summertime before. This time we were there before everything grew in and everything filled in and the vegetation. But also they've been doing all these controlled burns up there. So you can see straight up on the sides of these hills and just see these giant boulders, beautiful boulders of white quartz. And you're thinking, somebody could glance over there and it could be one of these creatures hunched over there, and you'd never know because you'd be like, oh, wow, there's just another piece of white quartz. You just scan right past it and carry on with your day. Something could easily hide amongst that if it was a similar color.
It was just bizarre. Debbie, thank you for that so much.
I've got some stuff.
I got a couple quick things here. Debbie, thank you so much.
Debbie Barnhill.
Kevin Murphy
hit
you with the twofer. That followed by that. Kevin, you're too good to us. I always say it. Kevin Murphy, too good to us. Soldier Andy, thank you so much. A little bit to help Jesse replace the boots that were stolen. We had literally the most frustrating few days. Like
it's not over yet.
Imaginable. Okay. Imaginable. And then we we had packages delivered, like
the day we
camera stuff and replacement boots for Jesse. and they got delivered, and we're checking them constantly when we're on the interstate coming home on the cameras, and they're okay, and they're okay, they're okay. And then they get stolen 20 minutes before we get here.
Yeah.
So now we're at home dealing with the cops, trying to like report. So we appreciate that, Andy. Soldier Andy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, but it is.
Do you think there's any kind of, we need to look into this too. And some of these more people who are more familiar with the URAs or maybe live in the area, is there a curse associated with the URAs?
There's one associated with us, apparently. MK Ultra said Star Trek Next Generation Season 4.
Booby trap. Yes.
Okay.
It's like a 20-minute going through the entire episode. And Joe goes, okay, I don't get it, but okay.
But it was bananas. It was absolutely bananas. It was but I'll tell you though, I walked away with a new respect for that area, because I'm thinking we're going to be setting up stationary in an area that is far more welcoming and accommodating than the sketchy places we usually find ourselves in.
And the plan was pretty cut and dry.
The plan was very cut and dry. We tested everything before we were going to go. What we were going to do is we were going to do some bait experiments and have some remote equipment watching the bait and watching the surrounding area. And then we were going to be basically pretending like we're just regular campers, but monitoring everything remotely. Everything should have worked. Everything should have worked. We weren't hiking in multiple miles with this equipment. It was literally coming out of the vehicle where it had been packed and charged and cleaned and updated, and it was all ready to go. It wasn't that hot. It wasn't that wet. It was really dry, but all that stuff is dust proof.
We had a picnic table.
For God's sakes, we had a picnic table. And I'm going, this will be a freaking cakewalk. And damn it, it was literally the most frustrating I think I've ever been, because I wasn't expecting it. And we got it. And we filmed it. I mean, we'll release some of it. We look like crazy people. I look like a crazy person. Jesse and MK look like they're concerned for my well-being, which they probably were at that point.
We were. In between our espresso that we had, MK Ultra.
They're drinking coffee. You know what I'm saying? I'm running around like a damn madman trying to get equipment up, you know? So anyway, but let me see what else we got here.
I've got everything. I'm caught up.
Now you need to do a t-shirt that is me in a
going after a white. As
Sasquatch.
Ahab. Well, that's going to be a commissioned piece of art from
Jonathan Dodd. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me put that on the old.
And MK
list
goes,
here.
I assume Sasquatch microwaves were hitting the equipment that you were holding just caused agitation. It was wild, man. And I mean, it was crazy. Thumpin' Weevil. Thank you for that. Awesome name, by the way. Is that a cat? Our little dog. What is that?
That could be the Thumping Weevil.
Is that the Thumping Weevil? What is that? Is that a cat?
That's a cat.
Is that a cat? What's the
That
cat's
appears to be a
name?
cat.
Is the cat's name Thumping Weevil?
We've acquired a new cat.
We've acquired a new cat. We have a new outdoor cat, and it's
I named him Wolfgang.
Wolfgang. And he is a little Russian blue that appeared out of nowhere. His mother abandoned him, so our other outdoor cat kind of took him to adopt him
as his pet.
as his pet. And now they're like the outdoor boys. They brawl around. So we were on the fence about keeping him or not. And then in a moment of like weakness, I gave him a little stuffed Bigfoot cat toy, and he went crazy over it. He hunts the Bigfoot through the yard now. So I'm going, he's a Bigfoot hunter. We can't get rid of him.
What
so
are we supposed to do?
Hey, Wolfgang, the Bigfoot hunter at that point.
You just look out and you see a tiny little Bigfoot cat toy flying through the air.
Thank you, April Black. We appreciate that.
Thank you, April.
But we, yeah, it was crazy. I'm almost tempted to see if MK wants to hop on for a few minutes.
If he wants to. If he
Yeah,
feels
MK,
like,
if you're here, if you want to hop on for a few minutes, we'll send you a link.
We will send
and you can kind of like explain in a way what you saw if you're up for it. If
and
not,
you can always blink 3 times if it's a hostage situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here's the deal. I have kind of painted myself into a corner with a bunch of this equipment stuff that I've come up with and like plans that I come up with because I come up with all that on my own. And then like people will be like, can I help you? And I'm going, there's literally no way for you to help me. I'd have to explain to you what I'm trying to do.
That's like if you came in and you were like, can I help you with the edit? And I'm like, nope, not going to happen.
Oh, I know. But anyway, and I could tell that everybody was just looking at me, just kind of going, well, Joe's working himself up. He's probably getting nervous. He's probably getting upset. He's just frustrated. He's not setting it up right. And then when the freaking flashlight started malfunctioning.
But it's warranted. I mean,
but it wasn't just one. One started, Then the other one started. We had 2 red flashlights we were going to use, and then Jesse had used her white flashlight, and it started messing. What did it do? Did it go dim or did it flash?
I had it on. I'm holding it. I'm not touching the button. Nothing. And it just cuts out completely. It was fully charged. I had not used it that much that night. I used it the night before. No problem. I cut it on. I'm looking around at something. Kills itself. Click it off. Click it back on. Comes on. No problem. Walking around. A few minutes later, kills itself.
So
it's not an overheating
the
issue
connectivity
either.
stuff, 1 or 2 of those messing up I can understand because apps are crappy. Apps are fickle. Every single thing I tried to not work the first night, weird. So I, made sure everything was updated. Remember, sure everything's okay. Did function tests during the day. Everything worked fine. Tried it again the next night. Still wouldn't do it. Then the battery started to drain. And then luckily I had like every battery bank I own, I brought with me. So like I said, literally I electric taping them to like tripods to like run into the cameras. And then the file not saving for the thermal, the flashlight's messing up, everything, just everything. Now, some of it's weird timing, but outside of, just the timing and the bad synchronicities that were happening, setting up for 2 hours and then Starlink's just not available.
It just seems like it was poking. Like there has to be some sort of trickster element involved in this. There has to be. Just because you don't have that many things go awry after meticulous planning.
But what we're out there doing is that we are looking for traditional Bigfoot reports. And we didn't carry any of the meters, the sensor tech, anything like that. I had the infrasound detector with me to try to run. I never even got to that. I could never even get it deployed because I was fighting all the basic stuff to keep that running at this point. Catch up some stuff here real quick.
So Michael Tovar,
we appreciate it. Don't step in crap.
I got some more stuff marked over here.
Jesse went a whole week without stepping in any like poop there, for God's sakes. So
I didn't step in any poop.
Nothing at all. Let's look on the win side. Let's look on the bright side.
Maybe that was the thing. Maybe I need to step in the poop for the luck, you see. We
need to start taking poop with us.
Who takes their own wood to the woods and poop to the woods?
Taking sand to the beach. Kenny S., thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. And then Chris Jackson. Jesse Boot Fund.
You got some more rolling on there too. Thumping Weevil. Cat's name is Bob.
Good solid cat name.
Bob
I can approve there. So I can approve there. Fried Iceberg, who's been a member for 3 months. Knife check, can't switch to US, so including exchange rate. Lol. We are both carrying
push daggers.
Push daggers. I have. I'm trying to remember which one it is. That's a Safekeeper 2. I will sometimes, in certain real dodgy areas of the woods, have that hidden on me. So you believe it or not, you can hide something like this, but hidden on me just as like just in case. That's got a little.
I got a little Toyminator. Look, let's put them side by side. Let's compare those sizes there. Look. So
Jesse's is, if you've ever seen Platoon,
Sergeant Barnes.
That's what Sergeant Barnes had on his. Only thing that can kill Barnes is Barnes, man. That's what he'd had on his like web gear. He cut Homeboy's face with.
Wow, that's apt. That's probably me as well. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sort of a Sergeant Barnes type character.
You are Sergeant. I'm Captain Ahab. You're Sergeant Barnes. There you go. So, thank you for that, Fried Iceberg. And then, it. Freaking out. And Bonnie Blue says she needs a Bigfoot toy for her kitten.
So
you've got all those like pet toys to give away.
Oh my gosh. So Lisa from Cryptic Comforts did a Kickstarter. And I contributed to her Kickstarter. She does all the little stuffed animals and stuff. Her cat toys are so good. My cats only play with her cat toys. So every time I see her at an event, Cryptic Comforts, I buy the cat toys for the kids. And because it's the only ones they want to play with. So she did a Kickstarter for her whole new line of toys. She has dog toys as well. So I contributed to that. And I got this insane package of dog toys, cat toys. I'm keeping the cat toys. However, I think I'm going to give away the dog toys. But they are cryptid themed dog toys. We don't have dogs. So
we're real big on. There's this awesome community of like artists and crafts people, men and women,
small business people
that like are like cryptid
are
focused.
super into it.
And so every time we're like around it, we try to like support it. Like Jonathan Dodd. Jonathan Dodd's like the premier like cryptid artist. That's the guy that did our logo.
Between him and Easton Hawk,
Easton Hawk's awesome.
Just phenomenal.
Yeah, but we always try to like anytime something like that's coming around, try to like support the smaller type. When I say smaller, they're successful at what they do, but it's not like something you're buying off Amazon. The things that people like hand make and like, you know, they travel around all these conferences and like do all this stuff. But
Darcy Parks.
Damn, Darcy. Y'all are killing us tonight, man.
Darcy Parks has brought the heat.
Darcy Parks has brought the
on that boot foot.
Heat's here. Darcy brought it. So good Lord. So thank you so much for that, Darcy.
Thank you, Darcy.
Greatly, greatly appreciative. And then our buddy Miranda Crew, you guys gonna have any Helmet Holler beanies? Love the new merch. Spent too much. Miranda Crew like hit us hard on the merchandise.
Miranda hit the Christmas.
Miranda, everybody for Christmas is getting Helmet Holler merchandise from poor Miranda Crew. Probably like, for the next few Christmases and everything like that. So we do need to do beanies actually.
Yeah, and I wear beanies.
Do people wear beanies in the summertime?
Oh, I do. You know, I do. I'll wear a bikini and a beanie. You know, I think that's a good combination.
There's the combination. You need to sell a bikini and a beanie.
Here's another thing. I meant to tell you this the other day. I'll tell you this on the show live. So I'm looking at what kind of options we have for more merchandising. Our store's pretty big, but I love making these designs and putting this stuff out. And it seems like everybody really enjoys this stuff. I have found where I can get Hellbent Holler bikinis made. It is a possibility. Let us know if you're interested in that.
There you go.
You could model it.
I will model it. So, a couple quick things here that are so much. The chat as usual is just flying. You guys are amazing. Our good friend Marcus Aurelius is here tonight. Marcus is either his schedule has changed or he's playing hooky at work. It don't matter. I heard a massively loud screaming noises coming from the woods last night from lungs that must have been massive. And this morning my watch battery was dead. We had that instance and we've got that footage of before we went live. And for context,
when
we first got the Starlink, we were hiking up the side of this mountain to try to get to a clearing that we know about to test the Starlink. And we're on an old forest road with elevated sides. The sides are like 10 feet tall on either side. So it's like you're marching through almost like a tunnel. And stretched across the top, there's a tree bent over and pinned on the right-hand side. Jessie scurries up the side of the wall, gets up there, and she's like, it's pinned. And she grabs it and starts shaking it. And I'm going in the process of going, leave it alone. Don't mess with it. She grabs it, shakes it, and there's like a real distinctive like knocking or popping sound from our left. We look at each other, and Jessie tentatively sticks her hand out and grabs the tree again. And so very out of character for me, I look over to that side of the woods and I go, we're sorry, we're leaving. We didn't mean to mess with your tree. We're getting out of here now. And we kept going up the hill, you know. So we got up to the top of the hill. We set the Starlink up. We've got it running on backup battery power. We're deploying the streaming kit. We got our camera running, everything like that. Right as we go live, we get a good signal. Everything's testing fine. Right as we go live, something screams at us from like the woods. And the moment it screamed, everything starts going haywire. The stream starts doing this weird looping thing. It starts going in and out, in and out, in and out. Camera starts dying. All the batteries start dying. Everything starts malfunctioning. We had people watching us from all around the world, and some of them are in the chat right now. And we'll back the story up.
I know that Miranda Crew definitely had some stuff happen in her house.
People watching us started having like their own like devices malfunction. One person had a broken clock on the wall.
That was Miranda.
Was that Miranda?
I think that was Miranda.
And the clock starts working again while she's like watching it. But all these people are just going, I was watching on my TV went out. I watched it I moved over to the computer to watch, the computer went out. I finally logged in on my phone to watch it. My phone starts messing up.
And that was probably one of the most bizarre things we all experienced it together. So you can't say that it was, any sort of manipulation of anything, because we all experienced it together independently. People experienced
all of my camera batteries never held a charge again. I had to replace them. I had to do a big like camera battery order. We use like in a loop rechargeable AA's and AAA's, really good quality batteries. Those just stopped working. I had to order replacements. SD cards that I had in that night. I always say the SanDisk wouldn't help me, but Samsung SD cards, Samsung, like I sent them in and they were like, did you hit these with a magnet? And I'm going, no, I did not hit my SD cards with a magnet. They replaced them though. So if you ever need SD cards, go with Samsung because their warranty is like freaking awesome.
Got a lot of suggestions.
No, they did. They totally replaced my SD cards. The SanDisk I was out of luck on, but my Samsung ones they replaced. They just said, well, it looks like you hit these with a magnet, and they probably still think I hit them with a magnet. But I got new SD cards out of them those, which was cool. So
Turdog on here says the City Boy audio was great, but one of the most chilling was the growling Jesse and Joe audio gave me shivers. Thank you for being a member for 6 months, Turdog. Yeah, that's another instance that was freaking bizarre.
Didn't it say Joe and Jesse? It said it in the opposite order than we usually use it. So wild stuff, man.
So I do also have one. Hold up, wait a minute. Oh, Michael Chun. Whatever happened to kill a dog?
I might not even get to the topic now tonight.
Now you've done it, Michael.
So now you've done it, Michael. I might not ever talk about why to kill a dog. So
we might not.
We even said when we were doing the show title, I was like, why do we even bother with it? Because
we just get into the wildness.
We just get into the wildness.
This is we don't get too structured with what we're doing half the time, you know. We like to hang out with the crew, but we'll get to killing a dog, man. I think we should.
Yeah.
Because we got some wild and woolly ideas.
So the reason why we titled this "To Kill a Dog Man" is something we were talking about today, as a matter of fact, that you guys know that Small Town Monsters has been releasing stuff with Justin Smeha.
A very controversial figure.
Yeah, the guy who supposedly shot an adult and a juvenile Sasquatch out in the Sierras. And they did some interviews with him. They have done a lot of stuff. There's some crazy stuff that they allege about Mike Green, who we've been talking about because he caught that thermal image in the Uwaris.
Yeah.
Where I guess Mike Green was like packing deer carcasses with like peanut butter and explosives.
It's like smearing them with the peanut butter
and then packing them with the explosives to like booby trap for like a Bigfoot.
I wonder if he like in Predator, but with peanut butter, and he just smeared the peanut butter across himself. I was trying to get
to kill his thermal signature. So Marcus Royce, thank you, buddy. I would love to see a documentary on the witches of Appalachia one day.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Many witches would be a good thing to do. Thank you, buddy. But and so we were talking about the, there has been a few.
I am inclined to believe this about Mike Green. That doesn't make me dislike him for some reason. I'm inclined to believe this. And I think I mentioned this last week that I was listening to an interview with him, and he said, man has killed, skinned, and eaten every creature on this planet, including other men. What makes Bigfoot think he's an exception?
I'm not saying he didn't want to pack the deer with explosives, but I'm also saying that the little bit that I've seen, nobody comes across
sane,
credible in the slightest. I mean, nobody comes across. And I'll get to that. We'll talk about that later. But we were talking about how every time there's been allegations or claims of a Bigfoot being killed, A, it's never panned out, obviously, or we'd have a body. But B, the crap storm that immediately ensues, it's immediate, and it's very, 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 it's very controversial. There's a lot of arguing. It really just kind of divides the community. Some people, a small minority, are saying, well, you've got to kill one. You need a type specimen to prove that the species exists.
Yeah.
Other people are going, the vast majority are going either.
April Black says, I won't believe it until I see a body.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people are going, how could you kill? Obviously, everybody's interested in Bigfoot. And the thought of killing something that's possibly that close to being human is very repugnant to a lot of people.
Definitely a lot of, ethical issues with that.
Yeah. And but here's the thing is that we started talking today, and I was going, well, what about Dogman? All of those ethical issues fall by the wayside when you're talking about Dogman. People don't want to kill Sasquatch because they think that here's the arguments for it. their numbers are not great, so they're basically an endangered species. You'd be killing something that might be irreplaceable.
They're too akin to humans.
They're too akin to human, that you're basically killing something that's like magical. It's like killing the unicorn in Legend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a sin and a crime no matter how you look at it. And then I'm just going, well, pretty much all of those arguments fall by the wayside when you're dealing with Dogman.
Mm-hmm.
And Dogman is becoming more and more credible of a topic for a lot of people. A lot of people are starting to go, just like we are, I don't know what it is, but there's something there. Okay. There's something there.
And it seems like Dogman is more akin to a demonic entity than something that is a flesh and blood creature that is on our plane all the time.
Yeah.
It seems like it's something that is more supernatural and more demonic leaning.
But that's the thing, is that you hear stories that, now you've heard stories of people shooting and killing them. And I'll be honest with you, Joe Berger has got a good story. Barger has got a good story on it. We've met Joe before. I think if that happened and he shot that thing, I don't think that was a true Dogman. I think that just like the government or various powers that be try to replicate UFOs, the craft in the sky, and they try to do their own alien reproduction vehicles where they've tried to reproduce the craft that they see in the sky. Maybe there are agencies that try to recreate the creatures that you run into in the woods. Now, it'd have to be a relatively recent thing, because
Are you talking about Dogman super soldiers here?
I don't even know if super soldiers. I'm just thinking like recreations of something that they know are there, but that they can't control or catch.
Yeah.
And that could only be going on since the 1940s. Even then, I got questions on that. I don't know. But most of the time, people think when they talk about like they're armed and they see a Dogman, there are people that say that they fired upon them. I have to watch out what I say here because I'm not sure what I'll. Some people claim that it's had effects. Other people claim that it had no effect. But at the same token, that's usually taking place in like a very stressful environment with somebody who's obviously struggling with the reality of the situation that they're experiencing at that point, you know.
And this is not just a traumatic experience like being attacked by a bear or getting robbed at gunpoint or something like that. This is a traumatic experience with something that should not exist.
Yeah.
So that takes it to a whole other level.
Oh, LW's got a good one. Oh, the Dogman pretended to be dead because if demonic, all demons do is deceive.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is this, is that should there be a concentrated effort to possibly bag one of these things? And I know all the pitfalls that go along with it. And I know all of the reasons why people will bring up as to why it wouldn't work. But there hasn't really been an organized effort to do so yet. And I just, as a thought experiment, I'm kind of going, why is that not what I want to put a body on a slab to prove it people? Why not focus on that? Because you have removed all of the ethical like roadblocks that you run into with Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. It's obviously not a person. It's obviously not a type of person. It's obviously not some like sort of spirit guardian, you know what I'm saying? It's obviously not something that's like wondrous and magical. Why not focus on that to at least see if it's possible? Because then maybe you could get a body on a slab and you wouldn't have 9/10 of the Bigfoot community out for your blood at that point. You know, you'd have a few people, because there's a few people in the Dogman community that are like, oh, there are protectors.
The Dogman women.
There are protectors, but I think that you could possibly do that and get.
So you think that if you were able to track down and possibly kill one of these, that you would not have the backlash that would be associated with killing something like Bigfoot?
I don't think you would. Now, is it possible? I don't know. Apparently shooting Bigfoot hadn't been possible yet either.
Now, at that point, does that open the door to the possibility of Bigfoot being real? Because now we've got a freaking werewolf on our hands.
If you have a werewolf on the slab, okay, you have a bipedal canine creature, 6 to 8 feet tall, with however you want to describe the hands, like people, what is it usually?
Most
Like
often,
raccoon hands.
Most
sellers?
often it's a clawed,
Yeah.
human hand.
But my thing is this, is that, again, as a thought experiment, maybe those people who are trying to, and there's not a lot out there nowadays, I think, even trying for Bigfoot. There were the GCBRO guys, the Gulf Coast Bigfoot Research.
Killing Bigfoot.
Yeah, was that the show they were on?
It was called Killing Bigfoot. Yeah. The Gulf Coast Bigfoot organization.
There was the North American Wood Ape guys were trying to get one. And regardless of whether people have been successful or claims of being successful are true or not, at the end of the day, we ain't got one on the slab.
My question is just maybe a personal question here. Say you and I are in one of these areas. We're on an expedition looking into Dogman. Say we go to one of these sites, such as the LBL, that is known for this kind of activity. Say we go out there, and I know that we got a thermal of something out there that appears to be exactly what we're looking for. If you saw one, Class A, dead on, right there, standing in the middle of a gravel road in front of you, 25 yards away, what do you do?
That's the thing. Can anyone get past that ontological shock that they're seeing that just rocks their
The wonder,
core of the reality?
Yeah.
We know someone who, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. He makes knives.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about.
okay.
We know someone who we know from just the knife community who's not into anything paranormal or UFO or Bigfoot or anything, let alone Dogman.
Has never watched a paranormal show or anything.
Doesn't even really watch our stuff. I don't think he's ever watched our stuff. He just knows us
I just
from the
know
knife
him.
community.
I just know him via the knife stuff. Yeah.
But then found out that we were looking into Dogman.
And had no one else to talk to.
And he had no one else to talk to. So he told us, now, this is somebody who basically makes exquisite custom knives that are insanely.
One of his knives he has knives that are $35,000.
They're insane. They're to the work of just functional art like you would not imagine. Yeah. And he does it to fund his fishing and hunting activities, is basically why he does it. He told us a story about he's out. I'm not going to say the state, but he was out in the middle of nowhere and was driving in a very deserted area on an old forest road, and came around the corner, and there was a wolf standing in the middle of the road staring at. When I say standing, I mean 2 legs standing, dead on, there, almost like it was waiting for him.
And it was solid black. He said it was
just stared at
black.
it, and he's armed.
Mm-hmm.
He's an exceptional hunter. Coastal brown bears, everything like that. He's hunted. And he just looked at it looked at him, and then it just stretched out and out and out. And then finally it just walked away staring at him.
It slowly sauntered into the woods.
Like just daring
on 2 legs. It didn't drop down and then go into the woods. It walked
slowly like it was daring him to do something. And he was just like, I never even thought about trying to shoot it. I was so shocked. So, but what I'm saying is, though, is that maybe if there was a level of preparation there, I don't know. Is it possible? But I mean, it just seems to me that at least this is something that needs to be explored a little bit. If everybody's so concerned, and I'm not talking about LARPing dudes, you know what I'm saying? And like paramilitary get-ups, telling stories and everything like that. I'm talking about, hey, if there's a couple of people out there, maybe eventually we could get a group more similar to the North American Wood Ape guys, as opposed to Dogman G.I. Joe, who goes out. And I'm just saying, if you're going to harvest something to prove it exists, maybe don't focus on Bigfoot. Maybe take all of those
something that doesn't have those ethical questions associated with it,
and something that would really open the door.
That's going to really shake things up, because you think about this. You think about a Bigfoot. That's something that people can wrap their head around. That this is a monkey in the woods. This is, the general public could wrap their brains around that. Okay, so there is this creature, a relict hominid that is out in the woods that we have missed. The populations are so low. There is precedence for this. There's a reason why this thing could exist. I can see why in the evolutionary chain that this could exist. All right, we can accept it. You've killed this Bigfoot. I accept it. The problem with the Dogman question is, where did this come from? This is more of a supernatural thing. This is going to shake things up. I think there's going to be more of a societal backlash rather than an ethical backlash when it comes to killing a Dogman as opposed to a Bigfoot.
Well, here's where I'm going to go to. And I'm glad that Cynthia brought this back up. Cynthia, I'm glad you're holding in. I'm glad your power is hanging out. I recall reading a post on DM, I don't know what that is, that someone killed it in the woods and a couple of men in strange uniforms approached him and said to him, "You've killed one of our assets." That's Joe. That's the guy we were talking about earlier. He killed one from his semi. And when he went back, there were what appeared to be government people there who said, "You've killed one of our assets." Now, but I'm gonna posit this. Okay. What if they weren't telling the truth? What if it wasn't an asset? What if it was something that they had no real control over and they were out there looking for it themselves and they got there after he killed it? And what if the cover story was, "Oh, this belongs to us," not, "We were also out here looking for this.
Don't tell anybody."
And that these things are, we were out here looking for these things. You beat us to it. Yeah, there are these strange creatures. We don't know where they come from or what they do, but they're out here and we try to catch them as best we can. But we only get a small percentage of them if we get any of them at all. So be careful out there. Or would they go, "We're the government. We have everything under control. You killed one of our assets. Now we're going to let you go. But if you talk about this, we're going to come after you for destruction of government property, or anything like that." Maybe that was a cover story. Nobody's ever questioned that before. You're not questioning whether Joe's telling the truth on how he experienced it.
You're questioning whether they were telling him the truth.
Was it a government asset, or was that some sort of some ability to, were they trying to possibly control an out of control situation as best they could, if that makes sense?
Chrissy's response is a funny one here. If the government had control of them, we'd see them everywhere. Haven't you seen how they run the DMV?
I need a new driver's license, but I'm going to hold off going for another week. Dead in Yard Hunt. I would like to get the new children's Dogman police outfit and put it on my Dogman for the Texas Haunters Company. What, the new children's Dogman police outfit? Anyway, I would like to go to the Texas Haunters. That would be pretty cool.
That's what we need to get into. Texas haunting.
Dead in Yard Hunt is obviously involved in the haunter community, like people that do very elaborate haunted houses and whatnot.
He made a phenomenal mask for me that is on display in my office.
He made a werewolf Dogman mask for us, or for her.
With instructions.
Instructions, yes.
On how to use it.
But it's got just so you ever go, if we ever catch a Dogman on camera and people go, "Oh, it's that mask that he made for them." It's got blue hair.
It's got braids and blue hair.
Just like Jesse. So you'll never.
So the hand-drawn instructions have it with it too. The hand-drawn instructions have me wearing the mask. So I'm like a sexy decoy Dogman lady. Joe has a rope tied around my waist, and I'm out there trying to lure in the Dogman. And then when the Dogman grabs me, you just jerk the cord.
Yes.
And then you've got the Dogman. Problem solved. So simple, Joe.
Marcus Aurelius, do you think that there are black paramilitary units that kill cryptids? If there are, we'll never know about it. And I'm going to be honest with you. This kind of ties back into something Kim Drescher said. Our good friend Kim Drescher's on here. And I'm going to click back to this. Seems like the paranormal and UFO community has been decidedly quiet lately. Anybody else notice that?
Yeah.
So I think that it has been quiet lately because I think a lot of people have gotten tired of the trust me bro thing going on.
There's a lot of fatigue from that. And, somebody who does some of the trust me bro, but who also kind of delivers on it too, is Luis Elizondo.
Yeah, I'm at this point.
Are you mad at him?
No, I'm not mad. I'm fatigued with all of them.
Fatigued with it?
We're nobodies out there with cameras and the equipment we can cobble together, and we're catching stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we're catching anything we experience. And if they're experiencing such big things, they should be able to deliver on it at this point.
Yeah, where's the footage?
But it's something. Give us something. I agree with you. You're claiming. So just like the guys that are out right now that claim that they were in paramilitary units that did crash retrieval and they're able to call these UFOs in at will, where's the footage at? So I don't know if anybody who's involved with the UFO side of stuff like that, the UFO equivalent, crash retrieval, alien entity retrieval, I don't know if we've ever seen one of them come forward or not. And I'm starting to worry that the people that have come forward are either misinformation or they're just lying to us all.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at like this, is that if a secret is being held to that degree, well, they'd kill you before they let you come forward.
Can you imagine?
Even if it was kind of in your face, oh, he slipped in the bathtub with his toaster plugged up, you know?
I like a tub Pop-Tart myself.
So there might be, I don't think so, though. I don't think so. I don't think that I look at it like this, is that I don't think, now, let me back up. There may be a small black budget group within the government that the rest of the government doesn't know about, that knows more about this, and there might be some limited of that. I don't think they have the situation under control. I don't think it's a widespread thing. I think that we had an instance one night that we've talked about a little bit where we heard a gunshot. We were hearing what sounded like apes babbling at each other. And then we heard a gunshot and we heard something just wail in like agony or grief or something. And then blacked out helicopters went overhead. And I know that sounds crazy.
That sounds bananas, but
we got it all on film.
Yeah.
And some of the other stuff that we've talked to, some of the UARI people that we've talked to, seems like there might be a military kind of involvement with some of that stuff. But I think it's very limited if it's happening. I don't think there's a huge part of the government doing it. And I don't think it's operating like, with any grand scale or any, I think it might happen in very, very select instances. Even then, I wouldn't think that it would be for public safety. I think that they would maybe just do it to try to maybe understand what's going on. And I don't know if anybody, I would like to think that there's a segment of the government that has this under control and understands it. I just don't think that's the case.
I just look at the reception that some of these UAP whistleblowers have gotten, and I'm very skeptical a lot of them because it seems like they do that trust me bro thing so much. Yeah. But you look at the reception that they've gotten from the general public as well as the UFO and UAP community at large. It's been brutal. It's been absolutely brutal. Can you imagine if somebody came forth and was a whistleblower on a cryptid, I hate to say cryptid response, but a cryptid response.
He's
tactical team.
Damn it. He's wormed his way into the inside. So
it's been in front of us the entire time.
So.
But can you imagine the backlash and just the insanity that would ensue from somebody coming forth and being very sincere and having maybe sincere journalists standing behind them? But who can you trust in the journalist class at this
I don't think
point?
you can trust anything at this point.
I think we're off. Ross Coulthard's egg just took the wind out of my sails.
It just took everything out. So, but that's what I'm saying, though, is that if we ever start getting like a grassroots movement again to try to because I think that's all we can trust now. We can't trust, I don't trust anybody that's on network television. You know what I'm saying? All these like UFO people and everything like that. I think it's all got to be grassroots. I think any disclosure that's going to come, it's going to come from the community, and it's going to become like little baby steps. But I guess where I'm going to, though, is that maybe, and I understand, I'm not advocating that anybody do this because obviously it's dangerous. The North American wood ape guys nearly had some friendly fire incidents where people ate a bullet. And I'm going to be flat out honest with you. There's people in the Dogman community that if they were going out armed, I wouldn't go into the woods 3 states away. You know what I'm saying? But if we end up getting some sort of fairly competent, like if somebody like Death Wish decided he was going to like put a body on a slab, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that I'd be like, oh, if that's going to happen, it's going to be him.
But I don't think we're ever going, and this is kind of a bummer too, but I don't think we're ever going to have this smoking gun. I think we're just going to find shell casings on the ground.
That's the thing, is that I don't know. I mean, that's
when it comes to evidence, I think we're just going to get latent little bits and pieces that kind of come out. I know.
Put out. Anyway.
But I think we're just going to have either latent stuff that's left over, we're too late, or we're going to have just all we're allowed to have are small glimpses, like something like our Dogman thermal. It's not enough. It's not enough to definitively say something.
But that's the thing, though.
But it's just enough to get you almost there. You're edging into that these are a real thing, that these are a reality, and there is proof out there, but you're just edging up to the proof. And that's it. That's
I don't know. I think that if anybody's going to try to put something on this lab, if it's possible, you know what I'm saying? But the other thing too that you run into is that Bigfoot does seem to follow some more predictable patterns than Dogman does. And that's something that you've got to look at. Maybe this is completely impossible. There are areas with reoccurring like Bigfoot activity. The Uwaris is one of them.
Yeah.
We heard more weird vocalizations in the Uwaris on a more consistent basis than anywhere else we've ever been by a wide margin.
It was wild to the point where we're going,
set you watch by it.
Yes.
But you don't see that with Dogman encounters. A lot of time it's a one-off, you know? So, but there are areas that, well, you know what? Here's the deal. There are areas that have consistent patterns of Dogman activity, like the LBL, where you can't really carry firearms. And they keep an eye on hunters pretty freaking well there, you know?
That's so you don't take out one of their assets.
So I don't know, man. But I mean, it's
I went a little Hulk Hogan with that.
You did go a little Hulk Hogan with that.
You don't want to take out the Dogman, brother.
So,
I just wanted to throw up.
Marcus,
I'm so sorry. Hello, PRT.
What's
Hello,
up,
Jesse
PRT?
Joe.
So
now give us that Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius.
Roll that Marcus Aurelius
Increased
footage.
government threats against witnesses may be partially responsible when chatter goes quiet on sightings. There may be the craziest Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever encounters ever that you'll never hear because they were shut up. But I keep going back to that, is that when you look at like reporting databases, when you look at reporting like heat maps, anything like that, where you're looking at that, I think that what makes it to public knowledge is such a small percentage of what's going on out there that it's basically negligible. And I think that, Marcus, I think you're right. I think a lot of the wilder stuff, the wilder true stuff, we may never hear. We're hearing the stuff that just kind of slips out of the cracks. I would say if I was a betting man and somebody said, do you think that there are people out there right now walking around with the burden of absolutely insane Bigfoot and Dogman encounters that they just carry with them, but they're afraid to talk about because they've been told to be quiet? I'd go, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because you have to also remember, there's so many people who have had these experiences. And we talked to MK about this too, that there are people that he goes and he hikes with that are very professional people who have had experiences or
these are not
heard things, and they're not going to talk about them because that puts their lives and their careers in jeopardy. You and I are clearly crazy people who are into this.
My life and career is already in jeopardy. So what am I going to do? But it's, I don't know. And I think the other thing too that comes out is that the waters are so muddied with so much of this stuff. But I don't know. And here's the deal. I ain't willing to do it. I'm not going to invest a lot of time and effort and energy into trying to bring in a Dogman type specimen. But if somebody did,
I mean, you're kind of doing that. I mean, we're going into the.
Here's
that's
the thing.
That's not your number one. That's not your A mission.
And we're armed defensively when we go out.
Yeah, we're not out there locking and loading, ready to take down the dog.
We carry 10 millimeters with like grizzly ammunition.
Yeah,
because that's the best, and then occasionally like short bill 12 gauges. I mean, but we're not
on a hunt.
Yeah, because that's a whole level of complexity, and then you add in other armed people, then the chance of things going wrong, it magnifies exponentially.
It might be you on the slab that they bring in.
They prove Joe exists at this point, we
got him.
But it's just, I don't know. Like I said, it was something that occurred to me today that I'm just going, maybe we're barking up the wrong tree here. Maybe instead of Bigfoot, which carries so much. And here's the other thing too, is that if someone did shoot a Bigfoot and they are slightly familiar with the Bigfoot community, I would go,
hell no.
I can't say anything about this publicly. They'll burn my house down, for God's sakes, man. People take this very, very seriously. But Dogman, would you have it? So I guess what I'm saying is that if the opportunity ever presented itself and there were people who had the skill set and the backing and the equipment to make it happen. I think that if they were able to do this, that would eliminate a lot of the problems that have come along with like the Bigfoot type specimen. And like you said before earlier, you've got a Bigfoot on the slab. People can kind of explain that away in mundane stuff.
They can wrap their head around that. Yeah.
You've got a literal werewolf on the slab. At that point, bam, your reality's rocked.
We're getting a call from the Vatican.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to go. What else is real out here?
Yeah.
You know, that's where the boggle threshold basically just vanishes at that point. I think a lot of people would look at that and go, okay, this is real. What else is real?
The boggle's been buggled.
The boggle has been buckled. What the hell? Redhead asked, how come we heard about Bigfoot all of our lives and Dogman is such a new phenomenon? It's not, though.
There's historical precedence for it.
If you look at a lot of the black dog phenomenon cases that took place in Western Europe, a lot of them have bullet point for bullet point shared just aspects with the modern Dogman phenomenon. Some of those black dogs, and that's what they call them, black dogs, spectral hounds, everything like that, they share a lot of stuff with it. I think that because Dogman was not in the public, was not in public knowledge, that a lot of what were reported as Bigfoot sightings might have been misidentified Dogman sightings.
Yeah.
You know, you call up a Bigfoot organization because that's the only people out there taking these reports. I saw something.
And for many years, that's the only people taking reports on any of this was something like the BFRO.
And I saw something big and hairy and it was aggressive and this and this and this. Oh, well, you know, you saw a Sasquatch. I don't think so. It looked more like a canine.
No, it sounds like a different type of Sasquatch.
Yeah,
a long snout Sasquatch. Very good.
But this phenomenon has been beside us. I think since people have been around. And it's weird because canines have occupied such a strange spot in like the human existence. You know what I'm saying? They're our greatest allies. And then back in the day, they were our largest competitors. They were a pack hunter that, you know, outperformed us in certain ways and we outperformed them in certain ways. So our biggest competitor and then our best friend, and then almost like an archetypal terror that, you know, so many cultures have these like, you know, werewolves are terrifying, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you don't want to say personification, but what is an animalification of terror? You know,
yeah, exactly.
The embodiment of terror.
Anthony Campagna says, honestly, don't think there'd be a huge backlash with the Dogman slang. Not like the Bigfoot community would. No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so. I don't think there'd be any backlash.
Yeah.
But the thing is that maybe the difficulties that are involved with such a thing, the stars would really have to align, man. You know, again, because you don't get these areas outside of like the LBL and around Bray Road, everything like that. And then also too, you get to the fact that if it's a purely supernatural phenomenon that just sometimes takes like a physical form, you know, can you kill it? You know,
if it bleeds, you can kill it.
Yeah, true, but it just, I don't know. And like I said, I go back to the Joe Barger story. I don't know if he tells you what happened to him and his story doesn't really change. Okay, did he kill it? Was it like LW said? Was it like wounded? Was it playing dead?
Or can you go into the area of screen memories at that point?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't know what. Cryptid Response is a perfect example of this. This is somebody we know in real life.
And we've heard his encounter in person.
What I saw, I knew instantly it wasn't a Bigfoot because it had a muzzle. This was 15 years before I ever heard the word Dogman. So.
And that has never changed over the years.
It's never changed. So, but I don't know. But like I said, the other thing too is that it might just be that Sasquatch, when people have Sasquatch experiences and sightings, they talk about how it kind of shakes them to their core.
Yeah.
That's like a million times more like potent with like Dogman encounters. It might get to the point where you're not pulling the trigger like a lot of hunters who see Bigfoot and they just go, it looked too human. And I always have a problem with that. Because that to me, when people bring
that would make you want it. No.
Well, no. When people go, well, no hunter's ever killed one because it looks too human. Every hunting season, people get shot because people are just shooting blindly into the brush because they think it's a deer and it's another hunter.
I think every day humans kill other humans.
But I'm just saying,
that's never stopped them before.
But with hunters, though, they're constantly shooting at things that they think are deer that are people.
Yeah.
So why are an occasional Bigfoot not being taken down that way? I don't know. That's just something I've always questioned.
There's also that factor when it comes to Dogman that you heard in a few encounters where even if you have a gun on you, that there's that mind speak or that connection or that voice that you hear in your head that even if you have a gun, it would do no good, even if you used it.
Yeah.
You know.
So I don't know. Let me catch up to the chat. Good God Almighty, I'm insanely behind in the chat. So,
I'm marking as I go. So
you got some marked here?
I've got you some stuff marked here.
I think we've gone over everything that you've got.
We got William Kennedy off the rails as usual.
William Kennedy's always off the rails. You got a good William Kennedy one for us there?
They're all good. I'm just rolling through.
I want to go to this real quick. Sam Burton had mentioned this earlier. I think the LBL family story sounds like government asset too. We are actually going to do.
Oh yes.
We're going to do like I'm going to say this right now, and I'm sure it's going to ruffle some feathers out there, but
F them feathers.
we have not been involved with the LBL story and in the greater Dogman phenomenon as long as a lot of people have been. However, we have approached it far differently than most people do. In so much that we listen to the stories, but we don't stop there. You know, we start looking at, I can't prove whether or not something happened in 1982 in the LBL with a family and everything like that. I can't prove it or disprove it, but you can prove or disprove certain elements of that story. And if you prove one element of that story false, well, then it throws the entire thing into question, the entire account of a family being attacked in an RV in a campground on the north end of the peninsula in like late winter, early spring of 1982.
We can look into those.
We can look into certain aspects of that. Mm-hmm. Now, Elijah Henderson from Cryptid Studies Institute, I happen to notice on Facebook that he's been in touch with a person who remembers hearing a story in high school in 1982 of a family being killed, and it was either killed by like a werewolf or someone wearing a werewolf costume or something like that. But that's not the first person who said that. Multiple people have said they remember hearing something about a family being killed in 1982. But you start looking at all of the layers of misinformation and deception and misdirection that gets piled upon that story over the decades. It's like the JFK thing that happened. I'm not going to, you know what I'm talking about.
His head just did that.
Yeah. What's that?
His head just did that.
His head just, yeah. So much stuff has been piled on that nobody knows what's true anymore. And that's been done for a reason. There are factions that throw out false leads, red herrings or whatnot over and over and over again. And then you have something that's true, but it's mixed in with all this falsehoods and you don't know what's real. I think that's happened with that 1982 attack. I think, and here's the deal, or maybe it's just a simple game of telephone. People heard this, they add in little bits of their own story.
Some details drop off, some are introduced.
Somebody wants to tries to glamorize the story, and it changes and it changes and it changes. And then one particular version of that story is what gets accepted as like common truth. But I do think that let's make some assumptions here. Let's make some assumptions that there are dogmen in the LBL. A dogman attacked a family in 1982, and there were casualties as a result. You don't think that they're just going to let that story just get out there? You think that that's not going to get, that the government would, if the government's going to cover anything up, it's going to cover that up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, a werewolf killed a family in a national recreation area. That's going to get covered up more than like anything else under the sun. I mean, they cover up events that have far less sweeping and dire repercussions. And so I look at that and I go, I would be shocked if the main story was the truth, because all it would take is just like what we're seeing right now, invisible actors, anonymous people pushing stories to try to misdirect everybody from.
And you could say at that time that they didn't have this level of organization or sophistication when it came to witness tampering or intimidation as they do now. But I think that it didn't happen there. Yeah. Are you getting to that point?
I think I'm going to be honest with you right now. I know it didn't. If it happened there, then the rest of the story is not true, because there was never a campground there where everybody associates it.
Because again, you have to just lay out your facts, A, B, C, D. What are these things that we can verify? Was there a campground at this location?
Categorically, no.
Categorically, no.
No.
We have determined that there was no campground at that location that is considered the alleged massacre site. There was never a campground there. So what else is wrong about the story? I think the story itself is true to a degree, but there is definitely some problems with the location and some of the other details.
I think that there was something that happened in 1982, and I think that there was a Dogman attack that happened, and then I think a cover story got out that was, if somebody took the time, it was very easily demonstrated to be false.
Yes.
Certain aspects of it. And that then people would go, well, there was never a campground here. This is all fake. But I don't think it was fake. I just think that there's either been some telephone game going on, or there was a red herring laid to throw most people off.
But isn't that part of the nature of all of this? Is it
absolutely.
Something is there is truth and then there is falsehoods, and they're all thrown together, and it just muddies the waters so much.
Pork Chop Express. Remember, for 17, man, some of y'all have been with us since the beginning of this. And we were so appreciative.
At the LBL.
At the LBL, so we launched memberships out, as a matter of fact. Yeah. I've noticed that Dogmen always seem to be framed up as loners versus a family unit, like Squatches have been. Maybe it's just the lone wolf aspect of, do they have families? There have been sightings of mother dog women with cubs in the LBL. There's been at least 2 that I can think of.
What do you call them? Would you call them were bitches?
Oh, Jesus God. Anyway. So,
that's what you call a female dog.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
Is that too?
That's a little too much.
Too crass? I'm sorry.
It's too crass. But
sorry.
There's the Palmyra pack that attacked that farmhouse. So there are groups of them.
But there has been sightings of females
Martin Grove saw
with pups, though, right?
Yeah, there has been. But no proof of it. But there's been recordings of it. To my best of my knowledge, there's never been a trackway found that has large and small canine prints like that.
Yeah.
But then also you get to this, though, there's only a handful of people that I can think of that have found small, what could be juvenile Sasquatch tracks. We found them. Lane County Bigfoot out in the Pacific Northwest has found bunches of them. But I don't know. I think that even if they were from somewhere else, we're talking like another dimension, another reality, spiritual, that somehow come into physical form on our plane, it doesn't preclude them from having a family unit. I just don't. It just seems like the habitation portion of it that seems to happen, where you have areas that are hot spots. Bigfoot hotspots got more activity than a Dogman hotspot. So, Kenny Hess says an FOA request should be made for the LBL event. There was some Freedom of Information Act requests that were made recently. But here's the deal. I go back to this. I don't think that Freedom of Information Act requests do much good in the UFO community.
They don't do very well in the missing persons community.
Yeah,
I mean, you can look at what roadblocks that David Paulides has run into through the course of his work.
And at the end of the day, all it takes is somebody in the government who just goes, we don't have anything on that. Sorry. How are you going to prove them wrong at this point? A lot of Freedom of Information Act little nuggets of gold come from, they find things mentioned in seemingly unrelated reports.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there was some, and here's the deal. People might have seen things mentioned in seemingly unrelated reports before, but they don't believe in Dogman. They just dismiss it. You know, that's the other thing too, is you have this filter of disbelief. People might see something and go, I'm misinterpreting that because there's no such thing as Dogman. When you start from the premise that there's no such thing as Dogman, it's very easy to explain away or ignore anything that you might come across at this point. But I just don't know if FOIA requests would do okay. We didn't even really rely upon anything we could find online when we were researching the LBL. We went out and looked for physical archives. And you go to this, like microfiches, old newspapers, things like that. And the argument could be made that, well, the government altered those as well. And I'm going, if the government was to that point of a cover-up, then we never would have heard anything at all. There would be never
Nothing
anything
would have slipped.
There'd be never anything to research. We would not have there'd be no rumors that something happened. There'd be nothing at all, because if the cover-up was that complete, that they are going into old county libraries and they are taking artificially aged microfiches and swapping them. If the cover-up is to that degree, the discussion of the LBL in 1982 would not be taking place, because it would be completely squashed at that point.
Todd Hall, been a member for 17
Todd
months,
Hall.
as well as our girl Miranda Crew. Greatest time of my life. I've got one from Surviving the Strange. He says, dude, you guys do a long form, deep dive narration of the LBL over a campfire. Would be a legit awesome episode.
We should do that. And then we've often thought about, because we've been to the area where the attack supposedly happened, that people claim, and for a while you see us in Small Town Monsters. We go to the next section over from where people think it happened. And it's the same thing that the Hendersons with the Cryptid Studies Institute came up with. But then we dove into it more and more and more, and that appears to be a Tennessee Valley Authority work camp that was there, and that's what you're seeing remnants of. There's open garbage pits from like the 50s and 60s there. There was never an RV camp there. They'd cover that up. They'd remove the
trash.
All right, cool.
Beer cans is what it is specifically.
Look at the stories. It was so nice. It was such a nice RV camp. It had all the amenities. It was brand spanking new. Blah, 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 blah. 1982, when RVs were maybe not as commonplace as they are right now. So mostly people of an upper socioeconomic status were the ones who were driving these like recreational vehicles. So like a doctor is going to take his family to a brand new RV campground in the land between the lakes and just let his children play in a garbage pit filled with broken glass and
beer cans,
rusted metal and sharp pieces and leftover pieces of old washing machines and everything like that. No, they would have covered that up or removed it, but it never was. It was just there. It's right next to a cemetery. All the places that you're going to put an RV campground, you're just going to put it next to a cemetery where there's a Congressional Medal of Honor winner buried. If for no other reason than that, you would go, we don't want like a bunch of like people like over here trashing this cemetery. You've got a national hero buried there, you know? And that's a great story, man. That's a great story. The guy that's buried there, his name escapes me all of a sudden. So I got to look it up here real quick because it's driving me crazy. Andrew Jackson Smith. Dude's a stud. Escaped slavery, joined the Union Army in 1861. He was in Shiloh, and he won the Congressional Medal of Honor. They would not put a RV campground next to a cemetery like that, you know? There would have been an uproar going, no, let's try to like keep this place like a little like, you know, sacred. So, all right, what else we got here? We're running a little over, but that's okay. We still got a bunch of people here. Let's just keep riding with it. Let's just keep riding.
Sure.
Going through and see what else people have. Bristol says, if they are creating Dogman through genetic manipulation, I don't think it's the regular government. I think it's a deep state shadow government.
Everything's so compartmentalized. That almost makes sense to a degree.
I don't know. Again, you look at irrational topics in a rational manner. If they are doing that, would they take them to like what amounts to like a large park and experiment with them? The government owns like thousands of square miles that's unaccessible in the, out west. Why would they take them to somewhere where there's just people around and let them run free as like a test? That doesn't make sense to me. Because if there's that level of cavalier behavior, then how come you don't keep a secret like that? You know what I'm saying? You don't keep a secret acting in such a manner. It would have to be hidden behind multiple layers of secrecy at that point. So,
Alan Howell, I want to thank you for being a member for 17 months. I love the show. You guys are the best.
We're not the best. You're the best.
Right. Marcus Aurelius asks, is anyone still taking care of the cemetery? I know that Dewey Edwards is affiliated with a group that takes care of the cemeteries in the LBL.
Yeah.
And there are still family members that come and visit these cemeteries. When we are there, we try to pick up any trash that we find. So hopefully visitors respect the grounds as well.
And all things said and done, they're maintained pretty well compared to a lot of like old forgotten Appalachian cemeteries that you just come across in the middle of nowhere.
There's one we found that's pretty horrendous. That needs a serious help. Mark Willis in here with a $20 super chat. Awesome channel. I've been watching y'all for a couple of years now. Are you aware of any sightings of Dogman in the Washington state? I'm in the outdoors a lot. What are the chances of me encountering one, in your opinion?
I, off the top of my head, cannot think of Dogman activity in Washington state, but I'm gonna preface everything I say with this. Washington state, that whole region of the country, is considered like Bigfoot territory. It wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility that people have encounters with them and then just chalk it up to Bigfoot, or they try to report them and people go, it must have been the stress getting to you. It wasn't canine. You just saw a Bigfoot and you were panicked by it. So not that I know of, and if there are any, Google's so freaky because of course I go to type it in and it suggests Dogman, Washington state to me. And I don't know of any.
Good night, Richard Sharp.
Out there. Seen a couple from Oregon. But yeah, I'm not really seeing any out there. You know what? Here's the deal. It's even in places that are hotspots like the LBO. I mean, the LBO has over 1 million visitors a year.
Booberry mentioned that he can think of at least one encounter that occurred in Washington
But
State.
it's
sorry to interrupt you.
The chances of anybody encountering stuff like this, even if you go looking for them. I mean, we go into Dogman areas that have possible Dogman activity. We've gotten a thermal image that's pretty good. We have found some prints and we've caught some strange howls. We have never ran face to face into a Dogman and we're out there looking for it. So the chances of any of this stuff happening are exceptionally low. In Washington state, I would think it's, I don't know. You look at the things about like, Dogman and Sasquatch being kind of like rivals for one another. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have just got a weird notification.
Cryptid Response has a good response to this as well. They're around for sure. If you actively seek them out, will increase your chances, in my opinion. The warning is this: be careful what you look for because you can't control what comes.
The other thing too is if there's any sort of like natural behavior aspects to either one of them, Bigfoot or Dogman, there's a thing called competitive exclusion principle, which means that two similar predators can't occupy the same niche in an ecosystem. One of them gets driven to something else at that point. And you would have to look at it and think that they would be extremely similar predators. So would they be able to coexist? I don't know. I mean, of course, you've got Martin Groves' story where it seems like they were at least in proximity to one another. I don't know. But like I said, I think that it'd be interesting to revisit you in a few months and see if anything has happened after you've kind of stated to the universe that you at least have enough interest in the topic to ask.
You have to also wonder if there is a paranormal aspect to this, like a lot of other things, even like UAPs. When you see a CE5, to reach out to it, you put it out in the universe that you're looking for it, that it actually does. It sort of turns the light on in the lighthouse. It becomes a beacon in the night, and then these things will start to come to you in a way and know that you're aware and that you're looking.
I thought I was caught up to the chat.
Yeah.
I ain't caught up in the chat at all, man. Good Lord Almighty. So,
we got a few people knocking off.
What'd you say?
We got a few people knocking off for the night too.
Yeah, we're getting ready to cut here in a couple minutes. Good chat tonight, guys.
Surviving the Strange says that Yakima area had a handful of Dogman sightings, plus there's a bunch of military training grounds in the surrounding area. That seems to be a common element with a lot of these too. I know that historically it's been bridges, cemeteries, liminal spaces, but it seems like over the past few years, proximity to military installations is also a factor that keeps reoccurring.
So, Karen, thank you so much. We're so greatly appreciative of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Cryptic Castleberry.
Castleberry. Yeah.
Yeah. He was just in the LBL. I was at that cemetery this past weekend, and it looked nice and well kept. We'll leave out with when we first went there, and that particular cemetery that's right above where the 82 massacre supposedly happened at. Someone had been using some of the tombstones as a latrine, and it was like everywhere, and it was gross. It was very gross. So we took all of our water that we had, and this was in the middle of summer, right before midsummer. It was like the day before midsummer. To go into midsummer, it was going to be midsummer that night, and
shortest night of the year.
And we took our water and we took our water bottles and drilled little holes in them so that we could shoot water out pressurized and clean it up as best we could. And then later that night, we were on the gravel road that's down from that cemetery. And I kind of looked over my shoulder, and that's when I saw this gray woman, almost monochrome, staring at me like she just hated me. And I'm looked at her, and the first thing that goes to my mind, and I couldn't even complete the thought before she disappeared, was, and it didn't make sense at the time when you stop and think about it, but I thought, oh no, someone's out here visiting the grave of a loved one, and they can see the remnants of what had been done to it, and we're the only people out here, and this woman thinks it's us. But I couldn't even finish that thought before she was gone. But that's what I started to think, was just not oh no, I'm seeing something supernatural. Is just that, oh no, some woman is getting ready to tear into us, thinking that we've been desecrating her relatives' graves out here when we were the ones who tried to clean out. How's this conversation going to go? But before I could even complete the thought, gone. So,
all right. I think we're going to wrap it.
We're wrapping
that. Lady Wolf has just got another leather alert. I'd love a leather alert,
guys. I
hope
she got
a weather alert. I hope that everybody stays safe tonight in all this. Make sure you are watching the radar. If a tornado pops up, don't be afraid to call somebody. If it is hitting somewhere where you know somebody is, don't be afraid to wake them up. Because some of these tornadoes have been very serious and life-threatening in the process of all this. Larry Sharp. Joe and Jesse, great show, y'all.
Bringing us out, Larry. Thank you, sir.
You, Larry.
Thank you, sir. I posted the link down there. We have limited amounts of hats and patches. If you want to get one and rep your Hellbent Holler stuff, now's the time. I don't know when we're going to be doing another run of them.
Yep.
So grab it while it's still grabbable.
Get it while it's hot and available, baby. I want you guys to take care of yourselves out there, because the weather has been nutty. Luck has been pretty bad. And so let's try to take care of ourselves and try to just keep an eye out, take care of each other in all this, and keep an eye on the radar, because these storms are very, very bad.
And Grizz had asked if we talked about the guy, Justin Smeha, claims that he shot one. I'm not all the way through that interview yet, but I'm going to tell you right now, the more I hear, the less for years I was on the fence about it, but the more I hear and the more I see, I become more and more convinced that it never happened, that it's just, no, that's where I'm at with it. I'm watching the latest one right now, and I guess we'll talk about that down the road, about our thoughts on that. But here's the deal. Here's the good thing. Eli Watson and the rest of the STM crew is just presenting it for people to discuss.
Make your own decision.
Make your own decision, and we need more of that out there.
Yeah.
I think that's, And from what little I've seen of the latest episode, I think Eli did a phenomenal job just presenting it in a very just kind of like journalistic fashion. Just, here's the information, you all make your own decisions.
Not seeking to sway the audience too much. Yeah, that's good. That's how it's done, kids. Grace W. Thank you, my dear. Right there at the end there. Miss old Grace. How you been, girl? All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us for Hellbent Holler Live. We've got some stuff rolling out for you soon. Keep your notifications on. Make sure you still are subscribed to the channel. And we appreciate you guys hanging in and being a part of this crazy project. You have anything else?
I got nothing.
Right.
We will. Jesse's working on getting the first long-awaited video of the Blackthorn area. What's our code name for it?
We're going to roll that out very shortly, probably on Fridays. It looks like Friday looks like a good release, or Thursday if you feel like Thursday's better.
Yeah.
So we'll let you guys know. Might be Thursday for that, but that will be releasing this week. It'll be the first installation of our Blackthorn series. So that is coming. So we're juggling that and Uwari, but that's what we do best. But we want to thank you guys for being a part of our fun little experiment here. It's been a blast, and we appreciate it.
Let us know in the comments if you guys are watching this later, or you have something here too that would it be possible to kill one of these things?
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Would it be possible to get one on the slab and get away safely? And would it make its way to the public as far as like knowledge of it, or would it just get clamped down on? I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching Hellbent Holler Live. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Good night, all. We'll see you again at the end.